Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate every single one of you, and I hope everyone's had a good weekend. I am so grateful for this week that has just happened. Putting a video out with cats has been an amazing journey. Just this week alone has showed me how much people enjoy my stuff. And we enjoy just listening to me talk. Maybe let's put it that way. But my very first actual video containing actual content has reached over 2,000 views, and I cannot tell you how amazed I am, how grateful I am, and I'll never be able to thank Baldy Cats enough, or Conspiracy Cats as most of us know him, enough for this opportunity. I've gained so many subscribers now, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to entertain them as much as Cats has in my own little way. But I wish I could thank Cats enough. If I could give him a big hug, I would, because that's the kind of person I am. That's how I show my gratitude, is by hugs. And so yes, if you haven't seen it, go. I will. What I could do is I will put it in the description at the end of the show. I'll put it in the description. So if any of you haven't seen it yet, go watch Baldy Cat's part 1, and then you can come back and watch my part. And leave a comment. I've read every single comment that has come onto that video, and the different types of people coming in and leaving their comments and their opinions, and it's just been amazing. It really, really has been amazing, and I'm so grateful for people actually staying and watching my videos. But with all of that, let's get on to tonight's show. Now, I would like to welcome Krafty Keelah. I've been wanting her on my show for a while. It's just been a bit of a hectic time, but I finally got her on. And welcome, honey. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I had a show earlier on, so I'm recovered from that. So that's good. Thank you for having me on finally.
Oh, you're welcome. I did pop in to say hi. Just I wish I had more time to come in and sit and watch your shows. I just, like I said to you earlier, behind the scenes, I've just been so busy. I've been so busy trying to get all of my stuff done for streaming on Twitch and streaming on here. And
yeah, you've been busy.
I've reached affiliates on Twitch, so I'm getting my badges set there. So if you don't know Twitch, guys, Twitch is obviously a streaming service like YouTube, where you have followers that follow you, like subscriptions on YouTube, and then you get subscriptions on Twitch, which are like memberships on YouTube. So I've reached affiliate status on YouTube, on Twitch, I beg your pardon. So I can now get paid for my streaming on Twitch. So I'm just trying to sort the badges out and the emotes out and stuff like that. So it's been hectic. It's been crazy, so I've been so busy. Like my fiance is like, when are you going to spend time with me? I'm like, I've got an hour. What do you want to do?
Congratulations. Seriously, congratulations, because it takes a lot. And congrats on the video with Cats. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
I know that's a long time coming, because you've been working on that for a while.
And you know what? We started working on this in November already, and
yeah,
with holidays and with lockdowns happening, they're not happening. And then he got sick, and it was just too crazy.
And then he needs to work out how tech works. Sorry, Cats, I love you.
And then we had to redo my section, because my section came out blurry. So we had to redo my whole interview. And even though I had once done it, I had to do it again, and I was still freaking nervous. But I mean...
Well, one of the things that Cats is great at is, because he's so down to earth, yes, he can remove all of that nervousness from you.
I was still nervous.
Oh, yeah. Sure. So I do owe a good bit of my early success to Cats, because I asked him to name a goat. He decided to name it publicly with his subscribers and got a fantastic response, and then included it in one of his videos. And like that, the views just shot up, because he genuinely helped me. So,
well, there we go. Also, one of your goats did sneak onto the show.
He did. He sneaked. So I do have an apology to make. So Fohammer is coming on to next week's Life on the Flip Side. But I do need to contact Sable Eagle because apparently Sable Eagle got it first. So I want both of them on. So if anyone has the ability to contact Sable Eagle, ask him to contact me and we'll get him on the show.
Amazing.
Because we have a new segment where, like, the last half hour, we're going to have on the set the little goat hiding somewhere, and you have to find out where it is, and then you can be a guest on the show. So,
amazing! That's amazing. Well, let me just thank everybody that's coming to the show. We've got Math Pig, we've got Carl Edwards. We finally get to meet. Thank you so much, guys, for coming. Tusk is here. Critical Cripple is here. Then we have 9 o'clock here. We have Spaghetti on Pizza Productions, which I know that is Aussie Globehead. Yes, Aussie Globehead. Kinku is here too. Thank you guys. Facty. Oh my goodness, guys. Bacon, of course. Thank you guys so much for coming. I do appreciate all of you here. It's been Find the Goats. That's a dangerous game to play with the Welsh.
Yeah. Math Pig is only here for the goat, apparently. He has a goat fetish.
Oh.
We won't talk about that, but yeah.
Let's not talk. It's anti-flatter. I beg your pardon. I'm so sorry. It's anti-flatter. Not
anti-flatter.
It's anti-flatter.
Nice name change, by the way.
Yes. Anti-flatter. You know what? I just spoke to him just before the show, wondering why the hell he's awake. And I've got his name open on Twitter at the moment. I feel so bad. I'm so sorry. Today has not been my day. I streamed today on Twitch, and Twitch decided, no, you're not going to stream today. And it actually just turned off my stream. Like, it just went offline.
Computer says no.
No, Twitch just said no. My stream labs was going. It was fine. It was still streaming. Yeah. But yeah.
Twitch was like, nope, not today.
Yes. It's a Sunday. I don't feel like working, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So anyway.
I feel it.
You know, normally you'd blame OBS or Streamlabs or something, you know, one of your streaming services.
It's always OBS's fault. It's always OBS's fault. I don't care if Twitch had a brain fart. It's always OBS's fault.
But Streamlabs OBS was busy still. It was still busy streaming. It was still streaming. It didn't see a problem. So it was Twitch.
Well, Elman says, finally a goat cartoon maybe, but a goat. But right, so I'm going back through my phone and I have a lot of videos of goats, a lot of videos. So once a month, I'm just going to put a random video up, even if it's only like a minute long.
Yes.
That's what I'm going to do.
I think it's good. I think it's good for people to see ghosts. I think
ghosts are cute. Ghosts. Are you turning into JL?
No. I do believe in ghosts, yes, but I'm not saying it's ghosts, it's goats. But that's a story for another time. All right, so as most of you know, if you haven't been here before, I have 4 questions pre-booked or pre-done already. I did these last year before I even started the show, so I don't remember them. I have a memory like a fish, so I don't remember the questions that I have put together for each show. So I have 4 of them. Keelah and I will discuss them. And because I don't remember them, my answers will be as raw as hers, because she also doesn't know the questions. So this is basically, I am sitting on the bed with her, having a chat at night, having a cup of coffee, having a chat. That's basically what this is to me. It's just sitting on the bed, having a cup of coffee or cup of tea, and just chatting with a friend. And just getting into the deep questions. That's what this really is for me. This is why I started this kind of shows, because I like those kind of conversations where 2-3 o'clock in the morning you're sitting on the bed having a big chat, and this is when you get into the really deep kind of conversations. And because I can't come and sort of sit on beds in around the world, I decided to make YouTube the bed. And
that sounds really creepy, but okay, I'll go with it. I love it.
Just go with it. It's not that creepy. You're making it creepy.
That's kind of what I do. I have to, because Taddy is in the chat, and if I don't, he'll say something.
And then we got this. Thanks, Krafty. It's nothing creepy. It's basically just sitting, or you could be sitting at a table.
I can't go into many bedrooms, but I can do YouTube.
Yeah. And most of the people are in their bedrooms, so or in their in their studies. It's fine. It's fine.
Roxy, have I told you recently how much I love you?
Yes. No.
Let me tell you again. You're amazing.
Teddy, how are you, Teddy? Nice to see you again. Oh my goodness. The last time, it's been a long time since I've seen you in a side chat. So thank you so much for joining. And then I just want to inform that any of the answers or questions or opinions opinions and answers that we have, there are no wrong answers because these are our opinions. So there's no right or wrong answer. So please, if someone has something to say about us being wrong, it's fine. You're more than welcome to say so, but you do not need to make it. You don't need to attack anybody or you don't need to attack us on saying that we're wrong. We each have our own opinion, and if you think that we're wrong, that's your opinion, and that's fine. But to attack someone is not on. And my mods, which is only 2 at this point in time, which is fine. I'm sure Krafty can also multitask.
Yes.
But otherwise, Bacon will sort you out. I do not tolerate trolling on this channel. I do not tolerate trolling. So if you are a troll, bye. Anyway.
So yeah, bye, Taddy. No, I'm joking.
And thank you so much for joining, Alman. It's good to see you. Otherwise, yes, shall we crack on?
Let's do it.
Awesome. Let's open up. Oh, I've just hidden my questions instead of opening them up.
It happens.
It does. Right, let us... there we go. Okay, so question 1 is, does absolute power corrupt absolutely?
You really had to give me that one.
Yes. I didn't give it to you. It was just, yeah. I'm going to say yes because I think the moment someone does have that kind of power, some people do, or most people do change. And all they want is more power. I mean, if you look at, let's just go to comic books for one. If you look at how comic books, I know they're fictional, but I think it's a good basis to start off from. Most evil people, all they want is more power, whether it be superpowers, whether it be more money, because money does equate to power eventually. Whether it's more power in certain areas of their life, they do want more power. So whether it's to take over the world, whether it's to take over a city, whether it's to take over a species, whether it's always taking over something. So that kind of power does corrupt people, and they just want more. And it does turn them into a bad person.
I'm going to disagree. Okay. And right, so here's an insight into my world. A lot of people know my niece. She does be on the streams with me. She's mad into Hamilton at the moment. Mm-hmm. And it reminded me of something. It depends on your character. It depends on your history. Mm-hmm. It depends on the world around you. Washington, for a lot of reasons, was a very, very bad person, and yet he had absolute power. He could have been the next king or the first proper king of the colonies. What did he do? With all of that power, with that absolute power in America, what did he do? He stepped aside. He stepped down for no reason other than he wanted to see what he had created alongside these other individuals become more than him, live longer than him. And so okay. I don't agree. And you see people like Gandhi, you see people like I'm trying to even think of names now. Names are not my strong point. But you see a lot of political leaders who, in essence, could have absolute power. and they walk away. They walk away. Or they listen to the best voices in the room and use that as a platform. So I don't agree because, and the reason why I disagree, I don't like absolutes like that. First of all, the idea that anyone is going to be given absolute power is not really understanding what power is. Because you can be the figurehead for power, and behind the scenes, like Bush could be seen as the figurehead for America at the time, but he had a whole cabinet making decisions that he had no idea were being made.
Okay.
You know, so I don't agree giving one individual absolute power then absolutely corrupts them, because it's never just one individual that's making the decisions. And if you look at other instances in nature, having absolute power in, let's say, insects, let's say animals, when you have power, all that means is you have a duty to look after your particular herd or your particular colony. And that's what you do. You have a role to play. So I don't like to use absolutes, again, because the idea that people can't change. Once you're out of that power, then what?
Okay, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes absolute sense. I'm just thinking about something like, if I think about how David Miscavige in Scientology came to power.
Yeah.
He saw the opportunity and he took it. And it's not to, and the abuses that he and how abusive he is by, you know, hitting people, bashing them, you know, on walls and attacking them basically. I don't know if he was like that before he became chairman of the board of Scientology, or if he was, if the power that he's received from it made him like that. So I guess you're right in terms of that. Not everybody becomes corrupt by the power.
It's a structure. It's a structure around them. So let's say, let's actually take Scientology as an example. One person has this idea, but it takes all the rest of them in the structure, not the normal people that kind of follow it, but in the structure, all of this has a structure. And if everyone, let's say there's 20 people on a board of directors for a company, let's take it into the world of economics. If there's 20 people or 50 people around Bill Gates, and they're telling Bill Gates that this is what he's doing is right, what he's doing is correct, what he's doing is, you know, the yes men, and nobody is challenging this person. Well, it's not the person's fault, in my view. It is that structure. Because there is no dissenting voices and there's no space for dissenting voices. And so if you're cocooned within that world, and it's the same thing with conspiracies. If you have a conspiracy theory and you have 50 people who has followed another conspiracy that you are a part of, and they come on that one and say, yeah, you're right, you're right. As emotional creatures, positive reinforcement is what we respond to. So if they're all telling you you're right to feel this way, and you have a point, and you're brilliant and you're a genius, then of course you're going to believe it.
Yes.
And most of us don't have critical thinking skills. We think we do, but we don't actually have critical thinking skills. And so it's not the power, in my view, that corrupts. It is the structures around the individual that allows for corruption. And it's the unaccountability that allows for corruption.
Yes. Okay, I get what you're saying.
I go in deep. In these questions.
You do, and I understand what you're saying, but I'm lost for words because.
Well, you have to remember, for me, I've been a sociologist for the last 9 years.
Yes.
And I've been around power. I've been around power structures. I've been around philosophy for a long time. So, yeah.
Okay, so oh my goodness,
I like that question.
Okay. So I'm going to then retract what I say, because putting it in that way, and actually now thinking about the actual question, and instead of just looking, because when I first saw I mean, I've seen that before.
Yeah.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely. I've seen that before on a conspiracy video called Zeitgeist. Okay, and in the context of that video, yes, in terms of 9/11 being an inside job, in terms of the US going into the Middle East just to get the oil, in terms of one world government, in terms of those kind of conspiracy theories, then yes, absolute power corrupts absolutely, of course. But now if you bring it out of that conspiracy world and bring it into the real world, where there's more than just it's more than just the US, it's more than just wars and things like that. If you bring it into the basics of things, so for instance, for me, like Scientology, I'm sorry I keep bringing it up, but that's
please do.
That is my, like yours is yours is a political point of view, but also sociology. Yours is there. Mine is Scientology, and that's where my expertise, not expertise, but that's where my mind is all the time. Like I said earlier, we don't know if David Miscavige if he was an abuser before he became the leader of Scientology, or if being the leader of Scientology made him an abusive, corrupt man. Because yes, Scientology is all about business and bringing in the money and mind control and making sure that people are reformed to what Scientology is. But does that make him a corrupt person?
Well, here's a question for you. Would he have gotten that far if he wasn't corrupt and manipulative? No, because I think maybe he's more of I think he's just as much an opportunist. Yeah. So part of it is seeing things from a very, very simplistic frame. And for me, I like to break down the layers. I like to break down the layers and build it back up again. One of the best things, as a sociologist, one of the greatest victories of politics is to convince people that all politicians everywhere in the world are the same, and they're not.
No, they're not.
And so that kind of question is just to say, well, there's no alternative. If you get power, you're going to be corrupt, and that's it. And there's a lot more to it for me than just if you gain power, you're going to be corrupt. And so that's why I like those kinds of questions.
You see, this is a really good question. It is a really, really good question, and I think it's helped me change my point of view on what I think is absolute power, and that it doesn't corrupt absolutely. It corrupts, but not. Sometimes people come out of it and they say, "Well, okay, hang on, maybe this is not for me. This is not where I want to be. This is not what the kind of person I am." So some people, I would like to think, do come out of that kind of corruption and say, "Hang on, whoa, this is not good. Can we back it up?" And
taking another instance from American politics, Franklin D. Roosevelt. During he was there during World War II, and one of the things that he wanted to do after the war was over was a new set of human rights, a Bill of Rights. That everyone was entitled to a job, everyone was entitled to health, everyone was entitled to a roof over their heads. He had this new Bill of Rights that was set to come in after the war. And again, he had, if he had wanted to, if he had lived long enough, he could have been president for another 3 or 4 terms before people got upset with him, because he was the wartime president. But he didn't last the war. And so none of those instances of the Bill of Rights, the new Bill of Rights, ever came in.
Yes.
Again, that's someone with absolute power, and he uses the platform to try and make life better for ordinary people.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I just wanted to. Alien X Gaming popped in and said hi. and then bye again. Sorry, I didn't. Sorry. Thank you for coming in, Gaming X. It was Alien X Gaming. Thank you so much for coming in. I'm sorry I didn't see the message earlier. If you're already gone, I'm so sorry. But thanks for popping in.
Profisherman.
There's
Profisherman.
a few more people that have popped in. I didn't want to stop the conversation just to say hello to people. So, because that's quite rude. So
yeah, I get like that.
Pearlfish, thank you so much for coming in. NNS Gaming, thank you for coming in, staying for a bit and then popping out, and enjoy the time with your family. It's more important. So I'm not mad at you for that. As well as I see the plot holes popped in. Thank you so much. I hope you're doing well, guys. Johnny, yeah. He will be on in the next show.
Ooh.
Just so you know.
Love Johnny.
He's coming in the next show. There we go. Okay, so we have some questions from the chat if you want to go at it.
Oh God. Okay, go on.
Okay, so I need to now find them in the side chat. You know how this goes.
Yeah. I dread to think. I dread to think what those little are saying. I've seen some of them.
Yes.
Alien X Gaming, one of the questions was, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck wasn't CGI?
That's quite funny. That's actually quite funny. Now I can't find tusks. Oh, goodness.
And we have a demon orb in the house.
Oh, here we go. Found it. Hi, Demon Orb. Thank you so much for coming in. Right, so his question says, power is far too dangerous, or it's not, maybe it's just a statement. Power is far too dangerous a thing to be given over to man. We don't know how to wield it without letting it get the better of us. And nobody with absolute power has ever used it for good.
Interesting statement.
Because the guy in Hamilton that you were talking about didn't use his power. He just gave it.
Well, the point of that story, the fact that Washington actually did step down after 2 terms was that...
No, Hamilton. You're talking about Hamilton.
No. Yeah, I was talking about Hamilton because my niece is mad into Hamilton at the moment. Okay. But the character that steps down is Washington, which actually happened.
I see.
Yeah, which actually happened. Washington stepped down after 2 terms. That's why in the States, traditionally presidents step down after 2 terms.
Yes.
But Washington could have been the new king of the colonies, and he chose not to. Why I brought it up was because the idea of absolute power corrupting absolutely would have meant that he would have clung on to that power, and he chose not to. So it depends on what's happening. The context is always important for me. Context is everything. If you don't have the context, then you don't have half the story.
Yes. No, of course. You don't have context, you don't have a story.
Yeah. When you have a story, but it's,
it's not the story you're supposed to be hearing. So Bacon brings up a good question. I know this is a silly one, but I think this is something I would like to bring in. So what I'm hearing is that Krafty Keelah thinks I should be supreme leader of everything, says Bacon Earth.
No, and for one reason, he likes bacon, so therefore no.
Okay, you can leave my chat if you like.
Oh, you're not getting rid of me anymore.
No, it's all good. I just thought that would be kind of silly to bring in. Okay, so we also had another one of who's taller by the plug hole. I've already put that out, but I think your hair makes you a little bit taller than me, but that's fine. Otherwise, we're the same height in terms of the picture. I don't know about your life.
How tall are you?
I'm 160 centimeters. I think it's 5'1".
I'm 5'9".
Okay, so you are taller. I think I'm 5. Oh no, I can't. I think I'm 160 centimeters. Whatever that is in feet, I don't know.
Bacon says she's tiny.
Yeah, I'm tiny. Yes, I am tiny. Okay, then 9 o'clock also brings up a good one. He says those taking power over are often those taking power are often corrupt. Those given power are often corrupt. Let me quickly find that.
But on a micro scale, okay, on a macro scale, but on a micro scale, you have the likes of worker co-ops, and you have managers who are on the same wages as those who are doing absolutely nothing. Or I say absolutely nothing, that's the wrong point. They don't have any power. And so what happens in these co-ops is there is a weekly meeting where everyone makes decisions. And if the manager of the day goes against the workers in that co-op, they're voted out and bye-bye manager.
Yes.
So it depends on the structure. It really depends on the structure. For my view, anyway, I don't like blanket statements like that. Just because I think you have to think of it more nuanced. There's always like deeper layers, and it's easy to think that absolute power corrupts absolutely, but nobody actually has absolute power, and those that do have a structure beneath it ensuring the view of absolute power. That's all I mean.
A lot of the times I don't know how it works there, but here, if you go against your manager is the person you're going to believe, unless there is a workforce that the manager is under, and the workforce says this is how it went, and the manager says something different. Then there's going to be a bit of, okay, so what really happened, so in that case, then yes, the manager's in trouble. But if there's only one or two workers under the manager has full say and will be, will be the one that's not in trouble. So the workers will get into trouble, even if the workers did nothing wrong, which is, I think, is absolutely pathetic.
Yeah, really, I mean, pathetic. Over here we have strong trade unions. We have quite strong trade unions. And so in instances like that, the trade union will be brought in. And it would probably go to mediation, or it would go to the workers' relations court. But like, that's getting into a whole nother story.
Yes. I have a good question from the plot hole for you.
I'm waiting for a date. Anytime I will debate Bacon Earth on the merits of bacon tasting good. But you guys have to set me a date, preferably during the weekend, so I'm not working.
All right, we have one from Tusk. Let me quickly find it. There we go. For Keelah, given the farcical,
yeah.
That's it. The farcical scenes of the border. Are you glad to be out of the farming and away from all the bureaucracy?
Well, I had a small scale farm, so it wasn't enough. So what he's referring to is Brexit, and the fact that trying to get a lot of our meat would have gone to Britain. Hell of a lot of our meat, and vice versa. We got a lot of products from Britain, and now because of customs and the headache that's going on over Brexit, it's a lot more difficult to export in and out of Britain. Yes, in a sense, I'm glad I don't have to worry about any of that bureaucracy. But my farm was on such a small scale that we were only selling on the farm and in the local area, so I didn't have to worry about any exports or any of that. So,
okay. Well, there you
go. Good question.
And then that's from Bacon. And then I've got your answer from the plot hole. Yeah. There we go. Roxy Lowrie's channel setting up other debates.
There you go.
There we go. There's your date, guys.
Anytime, lads. Anytime. I know the merits of bacon not tasting good, and it's an opinion. It's an opinion, folks. Deal with it. Deal with it.
All right. Shall we get to question 2?
Yeah.
There we go. So question 2 is, why do we judge ourselves by our intentions, but judge others by their actions?
Ooh, that is a good question.
It's okay, the pothole. Don't stress about it. I'm not bothered by it. It's really awesome. I'm happy to help if I can.
I think it's because we know our intentions and we don't know other people's intentions. So the only thing that we can go on is their actions. And for me personally, actions have always spoken louder than words. So
Yes.
you can say this is my intention, but your actions betray that.
Yes.
You know.
I mean, you and I have been through something really deep lately, and there have been a lot of instances. I mean, if we use that as an example, I'm not going to bring out any details.
Oh, no, by all means, by all means.
It's got nothing to do with anybody, but it's anybody else. But it's, you know, there were a lot of intentions and a lot of actions, and it was just, I think that judging on other people's actions, you know, from wherever you were looking, excuse me, wherever you were looking, come on, Roxy, hang on, sorry guys. From wherever you were looking, everyone was judging other people's actions, and contemplating on their intentions of their actions, and you know, and why they were doing such a thing.
Well,
and
the problem with that instance is no matter how much clarity you gave in terms of intentions, nobody cared about the intent behind what you were doing. For me anyway, my intention was to protect my friend and to get some distance from this person that was causing all the drama, in my opinion, causing all the drama. And so context is so important, as I've said. Intention is genuinely important, but the reason why we can't, in my view anyway, accept the intention of others is because we don't really know their intention, because we can't see inside their heads. Now, the way in which you combat that is to take them to heart when they tell you their intention. That didn't happen. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
Or the intention that was put forward was betrayed by a myriad of actions before that. So
yes, and I think that's what's important, is when someone says this, you know, they basically say, you know, this is they basically they come with their actions, or let me stop it again. They come and they tell you, these are my intentions, but their actions before that contradicts what they've said about their intentions, and so do the actions happening after they've told you their intentions. And I think that's why we cannot judge someone on their intentions, because their intentions may never, or sometimes are never, true to their actions. You know, so in any situation, whether it be something you and I've been through together, or anybody that ever been through something, we cannot ever judge someone on their intentions, because their intentions may never correlate or show from their actions.
Well, I mean, in one sense, yes, but at the same time, the full context needs to be understood. You can't judge someone by one action alone. It's the idea that you would judge someone by their worst action and define them by their worst action. You get this with celebrities all the time, people saying a celebrity is good or a celebrity is mean. You might have caught them at a bad time, and 9 times out of 10 they would sign that signature, or do you know what I mean? But we only judge by their actions because we don't fully know their intent, or we can't accept it because we live in such a cynical society. We can't accept when they explain their intentions. We cannot accept it.
Well, we like to think we live in a cynical society.
Cynical is different from critical.
Or skeptical, yes.
It's a different thing altogether. Cynicism is that you just don't trust anything that anyone says. You cannot trust the intention. And so we live in a deeply cynical society. I do believe that.
I'd like to, I just want to bring this up. Pearl Fisher just brought this up of cancel culture. We're not talking about cancel culture at all. Cancel culture is something completely different in my point of view. We're not talking about people, because of their actions. We're not canceling them out. We're not saying I know. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to think of how to put this in words in English. I don't think that cancel culture is really the same as, taking someone from their actions and saying what you did was wrong and therefore you need to leave, or you need to stop doing, or need to stop being on Twitter, or stop being on YouTube, or stop doing this, or stop doing that, or stop being on the internet at all. That's cancel culture. It's telling someone that they can't be somewhere. That is cancel culture.
Well,
that's how I understand it anyway, unless I'm completely wrong.
Well, the point that Pearlfish is making, and it's a good point, is let's take the J.K. Rowling thing, for example. I do not agree with J.K. Rowling at all. But the argument put forward by some feminists is that there was a space that was created particularly for women. And increasingly they feel that those spaces are under threat because of trans people. I don't agree with that. But here's where, so the intention behind it is to say, I want to protect these women's spaces. It's misguided in my view, and it's oversimplistic in my view, but they're very biologically driven. They can't see the social aspect. And again, you know the whole context. So the intention is, I want to protect women because I don't view trans women as women, and that's where they make their mistake.
Yes.
Whereas, and so cancel culture is just either not accepting or not understanding the intention behind it, looking at the action and then judging that action, and then creating a mob culture to ensure that anything this person says is ever taken seriously again. That's cancel culture.
Yes. I think also another part of that, if you go back to that, another part of the cancel culture was because of what J.K. Rowling says, or what she had stipulated on Twitter, was a lot of people have now cancelled Harry Potter as
Harry Potter was taken off the shelves. Her new books were taken off the shelves. That's cancel culture, where you actually try to take the person out of any kind of social structure.
Yes, and for me, that is wrong.
Yeah.
Someone asked me what I think about the whole situation. I said, I don't have an opinion of what J.K. Rowling said because I never saw the actual tweet. Okay, so I don't have an opinion on it. But with people, actually, for me, it's you cannot blame the artists, or in this case, the author's art or their work, for their actions. Their art or their work has got nothing to do with their actions. It's something completely different. You have to separate the two. You cannot put them together. Yes, it's by that author, but it's not. But she's not. I try and separate the two because that's the kind of person I am. My love for Harry Potter is because of Harry Potter, not because of J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
My love for Harry Potter has got nothing to do with her. I thank her very much for writing the books. Don't get me wrong, I'll never take that away from her. But my love for Harry Potter is because of the books, because of the movies. That's where my love is for Harry Potter, not because of the author. So I've separated the two, and J.K. Rowling can do whatever the fuck she wants to do, as long as Harry Potter is not harmed.
Yeah,
the actual structure or actual Harry Potter. As long as the actual world of Harry Potter is not harmed, I don't care what she does. Honestly, she's just another person. that has said the wrong things, kind of thing. That's
but it's
how
like
I feel.
it's like someone losing at one stage, what was it? People were kicked out of Disney for being caught. This is in like the 30s and 40s. People were their contracts were cancelled with Disney because they were caught by paparazzi having an alcoholic beverage. Or, you know, boy bands, you know, back in the 80s and 90s, if you were seen having a functional relationship, because it wouldn't sell as much if you were in a relationship, because your fan base were young girls, so they were forced to either keep the relationships secret or not have them.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Yeah.
Some people don't know how to separate the artist from their art.
Yes.
And that is another problem we have in this world.
And it also goes back to not you can't judge someone's whole entire life's work by their worst mistake. Or by one action. And that's what cancel culture is. It's judging that one action and therefore cancelling a lifetime of work. It's sad to see.
Yes. I did see a message from Pearl. I just want to quickly find it. He said, they said, I'm not too sure if you're male or female. I don't want to assume. So I'm going to just say they. Pearlfish says, sorry, that was just me generalizing, judging a person based on a single action. Nothing.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's all right. I didn't mean to come off harsh. I'm sorry if I did.
It gave us another little outlet to talk about.
Yes. So thank you very much for that. But please don't ever be sorry for saying something in the chat. It's really, I don't want people to think that they can't say what they want in the chat.
Pearlfish identifies as a he, apparently.
As a he. Okay. All right. I didn't want to assume, because a lot of people hate it when you assume their gender. Yep. But yes, I think that cancel culture can fit in with judging other people's actions, because that's just a byproduct of what we do, or what some people do when it comes to seeing their actions, if it's not what we agree with.
Yeah.
But judging ourselves by our intentions is what we can do, because we obviously we're in our own heads, so we know our own intentions. No matter how much we can lie to ourselves or tell ourselves something else, we cannot lie. You know, we cannot say, you know, this is what I think, when in actual fact, this is what I actually think. And our actions, we can't even judge ourselves on our actions from our intentions, because sometimes we do things we're not meant to do, even though our intentions were pure, or that they were, were wrong. So we do something wrong because we do something wrong, but our intentions were
in the right place. Yeah,
we're in the right place. So for ourselves, I think we need to judge ourselves by our intentions and our actions, not just our intentions.
Yep. I'd agree with that.
Yay! Krafty agrees with me. Everybody, this is recorded.
You make it sound like it's a once in a lifetime thing that I'd agree with you on something.
It's not often that we have a conversation, because we've had plenty of conversations.
Yeah.
It's not often that you agree with me. But it's fine. I like that we can have a conversation where we don't always agree.
Yeah.
Because then
it makes it more interesting.
Yes. Yeah. And that is why I like having conversations with you on and off the stream. I mean, more off than on, because it's the first time we've actually had a stream together. But I like having conversations with you because you disagree with me, and because you help me see it in a different point of view. That is why I like having conversations with you.
And it would be it would be pretty boring if we just agreed on everything.
Yes. And I'm hoping it's the same with you, that I sometimes help you see a different point of view as well.
Absolutely.
And also it does help being in two different countries, going through different
cultures, different histories, and
yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. Speaking of different cultures and different countries, Gregory says, I think Krafty Keelah needs to visit here in South Africa. And the one thing I know about goats is do not play headbutt with them.
Yeah, they'll win every time. But you know what? Do you know the way to get around not playing headbutt? Grab them by the beard and pull their head up. That's how you do it. It doesn't hurt them. It just means that it's just like it's basically correcting them, saying, no, I don't want to play right now. And that way, because their power is in their is in lowering their heads. So if you bring their heads up, they don't have the power. Just a little tidbit. But yeah, yes. I've been to South Africa. I've been to South Africa. I spent 3 months on a big cat sanctuary in South Africa, just outside Johannesburg.
Just where? Because Johannesburg is big. So do you remember the town?
No. I just remember, like, I was 19. So I just remember getting off the plane and someone being told to get this bus, and then someone picking me up from the bus.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you made it out alive of South Africa. I'm joking. It's an absolute joke. We're not that bad here.
I tell you, it was one of the best times of my life. Because we were working with lions and cheetahs and leopards, mainly the cheetahs. I love cheetahs. Absolutely love cheetahs. I was going to curse there and I stopped myself. See, I was good. I love cheetahs. I love cats. I love big cats, and you can learn a lot from cats. So I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I wish I could have stayed longer.
Yeah. Well, your goat that you've put that sneaked onto the ship doesn't have a beard. So how would you handle that?
Well, yeah, you grab it by the under the chin. Grab it by the chin and lift the head up.
Okay. I see we've got a few statements by the chat, but I do want to say hi to Gregory. Thank you so much for joining. I do appreciate more South Africans popping in. It's really great to see them. The people that don't have accents. I've been told that someone came into my first chat and they said it's so awesome to have to come onto YouTube and watch a stream with someone that doesn't have an accent.
Now, let me be very clear on this. The only person on YouTube that doesn't have an accent is the creaky blinder.
Yes, I agree. I agree, because I know I have an accent. To people that don't know, people think that I am Australian. I've been called Australian before. I've even been called British. I'm like, no.
I can see that.
If you
it's a mangled version of the British and Australian accents.
Yes, it is. But I know that a lot of South Africans do not like the Australians at all, unless it's just a rugby thing. But
is it not a cricket thing?
No, it's a rugby thing.
Is it a rugby thing?
But yet again, or maybe might also be cricket. I'm not too sure. I don't really care. I like Australians. I've got lots of people that I know there in Australia.
Because I know the Aussies are mad into their cricket, and so is the South Africans.
Yes, we are
mad into the cricket. I don't get it. Rugby, I get. Me and Taddy were actually watching before this stream. We were watching the Ireland v Wales match. Ireland lost in the last 10 minutes. I blame Tatty Bogle for that. He jinxed it. But so cricket I don't understand at all. I don't see the appeal.
If I watch cricket, it has to be the 2020 where it's a fast-paced game. It must be over by the end of the day, because if it's not, I'm not interested.
If I watch cricket, I have to be high and I have to be drunk.
Why?
Because it's the only way that I can actually sit through it. It's like the most boring game I've ever come across.
It's not boring when you're actually watching it at a fast pace. But yes, the 5 days they can go jump in the lake for all I care, because that's too much for me. I see Tusk sent in something, but I cannot find it in the side chats, and I don't know why. So he said, it's not always possible though. Look at Burzum. His music is hugely influential in metal, but he's he's a murderous Nazi bastard, and I can't find a place to reconcile those two things.
Understandable.
Okay. That makes sense. That does make sense.
Look at Kanye West. His music is pretty decent. His politics are up his backside. Like, I'm gonna be very sorry. I could have said something else there. I didn't.
Yes.
But yeah, he's a Trump supporter. He's a bloody Trump supporter.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
You didn't know Kanye West was a Trump supporter?
No.
Going around talking about how Trump was was basically a new god. It was actually.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, it was borderline embarrassing. But he'll make records talking about overcoming injustices and overcoming circumstance, and then he'll go on TMZ and say slavery was a choice. Like, Kanye West, there you go.
Slavery was not a choice.
Tell Kanye West that.
I'm a white woman in suburbia, and even I know that that's not a choice.
Yeah, for Kanye, slavery apparently was a choice. You should look up that interview. It's absolutely hysterical. Like, he gets called out, which is great.
Yeah, I'm sure he would. I'm sorry, Tess, I can't find your message. I'm sitting here listening to Krafty talk, and I still can't find the message in the side chat. I'm
distracting her.
I don't know. I can't find it. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. And I probably won't be able to find this one either. It's by Andy Donnelly. He said, life is complicated. Humans are complicated. Humanity is complicated. Unless we understand how complicated reality is, we don't stand much of a chance of solving problems or judging anyone.
Agreed.
I agree. There's nothing more complicated than humans. And I'm not going to even go on the gender base of women being more complicated than men. No. Humans are complicated. They really are. And even though you have sociology or psychology, you'll never get to understand that. There we go, found it. There we go. We'll never get to fully understand the human race. Mm-hmm. Because we are ever evolving. And I mean, if you look at nowadays, people back in, let's just say, the early 1700s, 1800s, and you go to them and start talking about the many different genders that we have now, that we have now, they're going to look at you like you're freaking crazy. Mm-hmm. Because to them, gender and sex are the same thing. There's only male, only female, and that's that. They're going to look at you like you're crazy. So, and even though, yes, I do know that a lot of cultures did see transgender in their cultures. It was already there for a long time. It's just now a lot more open and not just stuck to certain cultures or certain tribes, certain things like that, So I think that because we're ever evolving, and not everybody likes the way it's going, and that's fine, that's your opinion. Not a lot of people like the fact that we have however many genders we have today. Some people don't like the fact that some people are transitioning to the opposite sex. Or some people are actually seeing themselves as gender fluid. There are a lot of people that don't like that idea because to them it's male, female, and that's that, and that's fine. That's their opinion as long as they're not hurting anyone, or forcing people to their frame of mind.
Yeah.
You are allowed to believe whatever you're allowed to believe, as long as you're not influenced or trying to force people to believe what you believe, because that's now that's going into the lines of mind control. Not even mind control. Just I've lost my wording now.
But once it becomes political, once you try to create laws based on those closed-minded ideas, that's when it gets dangerous. That's when it starts really impacting people's lives.
Yes, I think that people believing. I think the moment you start influencing people's lives with your own beliefs, is that's when, for me, you're starting a cult.
Yeah.
You know, in the moment you start believing in that, it's and you start, just like with Scientology, the moment people start, you know, I'm not saying that everybody that gets into cult is stupid. No. And it doesn't mean you're vulnerable either. It just means that what you're hearing rings true to you at the time, and you and now I feel like I'm gonna go into a spiral of shit.
That's okay. By all means, take your time, love.
But I'm trying to think how to put this right. I think I don't like the fact when people say, that you have to believe it this way when you don't. If say, for instance, I don't believe in, non-binary, just to say, that's my opinion. I don't go around telling people you cannot believe in non-binary, because that's just wrong. I can't tell people what to believe, because I don't want people to tell me what to believe. Just same with my spirituality. I'm not going to go around telling people that they have to be pagan, that they have to believe in many gods, that they have to believe in this, they have to believe in that. They don't. You believe whatever you want to believe. Just don't come and tell me what I have to believe. Like Jehovah's Witnesses, like Christians, like the other religions that come and tell you what you have to believe. I don't like that. Don't tell me what I have to believe. Just like, don't come and tell me that I have to believe in, that there are whatever, many genders, that there are many this, there are many that, just as an example. Just like I'm not going to come and tell you that you have to believe in many genders, that you have to believe in that many gods, many this, many that. You don't. Just as long as you're not harming people and forcing people, do whatever the hell you want to do.
For the most part, I agree. There's certain things, there's certain things, as I said, like, as long as it doesn't get to the point of influencing laws because people disagree. Like, I come from a country who were dominated and were dictated to by one entity, which was the Catholic Church. Our whole identity for a long time was mingled with the Catholic Church.
Yes.
And they got to run the show. And because of that, a lot of our laws were influenced by Catholicism, which we're starting to roll back on now, thankfully. But yeah, as long as it's not affecting people's daily lives and real life choices, then yeah, I completely agree. Believe what you want. Again, as soon as it starts impacting another person's life, like anti-vaxxers, I have no time for them. Absolutely no sympathy for anti-vaxxers. There are certain things that I would disagree with what you said, but that's because it indirectly affects other people's lives. And it gets to the point where the reluctance or the reliance.
Holy crap. Sorry, I just got a fright.
That was thunder.
Holy crap, I got a fright.
There's a thunderstorm.
I just saw a flash. And then that, oh my word, I'm sorry, guys.
So into the conversation.
I'm so glad my swearing filter's on. That would have been atrocious.
I see a Commander Darklight in the chat.
I see a lot of new people in the chat. So come on, I see a Cat Paw. I see a Commander Darklight. I see
Theo Fungi
is in the chat. Thank you all so much for coming. I appreciate it. That is awesome. I'm very happy for all of you to be able to sit here and watch me. It's amazing.
And you get free thunder.
And you get free thunder. Now you get to hear a Johannesburg thunderstorm, which I know that Carl and I will agree with. Maybe not Carl. I don't know if he likes them, but I love South African Joburg thunderstorms because I can just sit there and watch not thunderstorms, lightning storms. I can just sit there with my windows open and watch them all day, or all night. Sorry, all night, because that's when it's best to watch, because you obviously see the lightning.
Yeah,
it's just the best. It's just the best. It's beautiful.
Down on the farm, when there was a thunder and lightning storm, it would be on the mainland, and so you'd see the whole of the mainland light up. You'd see the whole of West Cork light up. But the best thunderstorm I've ever been witness to was the thunderstorms in Cuba. There was nothing like them. There has been nothing like them. Thunderstorms in Cuba. They were incredible. Yeah, they were incredible. They were power, and you really felt the earth shake with the thunder.
We've heard that here too. We get that here too.
That was incredible. Experiencing that was incredible. But we've gotten way off topic.
Yes, we have. And Gregory just asked me a question. He says, I know this is off topic, and I know that I'm not really supposed to be doing this, but today I'm in a good mood, so I don't care. He asked me a quick accent test. Ask her how old she is. Ask me how old I am, or ask Keelah how old she is.
Gregory, were you in my chat earlier? Because if so, I'm not allowed to tell you to off, but off.
Oh goodness, I can't find these. Some of them are saying such nice stuff, and Bacon is picking up some nice ones, but I can't find them in the side chat here.
So some of them like the way I say 3, because half the time when I say 3, it's with a CH, so tree. So I'm 33 next month.
Okay, and I've just turned 34.
Yay!
Yeah. And I still don't have children, which is okay.
Apparently I'm 57, but don't tell anyone. Thanks, Bacon Earth. That was a secret, man. That was a secret.
Okay, so I'm battling to find some of these comments today that I'm being shown. But Carl Edwards says, Krafty Keelah, politics in South Africa trumps everything else. Now, I don't know how much you know about our politics.
I know a bit. But I'm wondering the context here. Why does it trump everything else?
Well, Gregory, you're more than welcome to explain that. And then Gregory also did bring up a nice comment. He says, don't forget, a few years back, I would have been jailed and likely land up in a psychiatric facility for wearing a dress here in South Africa.
Yeah, that's shameful. That's shameful.
Yes. But it's... I don't know. I don't think it's like that's here anymore. I think it's a lot more open, but you'll still be looked at weird. You'll still be looked at funny here because a lot of people they're not as Americanized as they like to think they are. So wearing a dress in public is still it's a taboo, but not as much of a taboo.
We would have been like that until until we had a situation in Ireland. It was only actually recently, before the marriage equality referendum, where a guy was brought on. He's a drag queen, and he was in his male form, and he was asked basically about homophobia in Ireland, and he was basically pushed into naming a particular organization, and he did, and they were sued. So he went in all his glory as Panty Bliss onto the Abbey stage and gave one of the most incredible speeches I think Ireland has ever seen. In terms of, he spoke about when he was younger and he was still coming to terms with his sexuality, being at a traffic stop and people from a car threw a pint of milk out of the car at him, and he said, I had to stop and I had to check myself to see what was giving the gay away. And he made the point, or Panty Bliss made the point, I don't blame you for that. And yet I do, because I hate you for making me make myself check myself. It was just, so all of a sudden images of drag queens were all over Ireland, which normalized the practice a lot. But even before then, even though we are considered a first world country, it was something to be kept in the gay bars.
Yes.
It wasn't something that you would see walking down the street, and yet you would, because they're normal people.
Yes. So quickly, Andy, thank you so much for popping in. I do appreciate you popping in, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care and have a good shift. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to just...
That's cool. I was finished anyway.
Okay. I would like to thank Commander Darklight for the $20 tip. And his message is, how do South Africans feel about Kiwis? Now, you got to ask.
That's a loaded question.
Now, you got to ask if it's just New Zealand on its own, or if it's rugby related. Because if it's rugby related, you guys can go yourselves. Honestly, because between the South Africans, and it's even worse with South Africa and New Zealand, the All Blacks, than it is with South Africa and the South Africans and the Australians in rugby. So it's the rivalry is worse with the All Blacks. So it's yeah. And I did also I'm now just correcting myself. I did just mention that Anti-Flatter was Australian. No, he's Kiwi. I'm sorry, Anti-Flatter. And I've made so many mistakes with you today. I hope you can forgive me.
Just real quick, Skydiver Tanner said I should have watched the stream about drag queens. I did. I didn't watch it live because you went on at an ungodly time for me.
Yes.
But I did watch it. I did watch it.
And I'm busy watching it. So
you think I'm not there, but I'm getting very, very good at lurking.
It's amazing. But yes, I am busy watching it. I was busy watching it before the stream. But I will definitely carry on watching it before after the stream, or sometime this week I will carry on watching it. But let's get on to, I did find a good one from Andy Donnelly. He said every single human being that ever existed and exists or will exist is different. And yes, I agree with that.
Oh, there's a... While, yes, they are different, their mentality is not. So we as human beings are systematically, we run on patterns. We are a social creature, which means mob rule can easily take over. So the patterns of our behavior dictates behavior in a lot of ways. Otherwise, yes, we are different. We are completely separate human beings, except we are social creatures, and by definition of being social creatures, we do follow patterns. And so although human individualism is different with every individual, pattern behaviors often overrides our individualistic thinking. So sorry to get all technical, but no. I do like to challenge that one, because again, it's another statement just to say, yes, we're different, but our behaviors are predictable for the most part, and they follow a pattern. And if you
Yes.
can understand the pattern, you can not dictate behavior, but you can actually predict a lot of behaviors. In which case you can plan to help. This is one of the things in psychology that helps. This is why we name disorders, right? This is why we name disorders. Because yes, although we're different and we're individual and there's never going to be another us. There's never going to be another Roxy Lowrie. There's never going to be another Keelah. Yes, but there are certain behaviors that we can predict in order to help move society forward. Yes. So me having bipolar, for instance, is a big thing to know, because then I can get help for when I'm having one of my episodes. So manicism is a thing with bipolar. You get manic episodes. People think of manic episodes as either exploding or whatever. No, for me, I go on 5-day benders where I don't sleep because my mind can't stop. I can't cope with stopping. So that's a manic behavior that can be helped with medication. It can be helped. Sometimes it has an impact, sometimes it doesn't. But it's just something to be aware of, that although we are unique, although we are snowflakes and individuals, we have patterns of behavior as a society, as a kind, as a people. We have patterns of behavior that we follow that can be predicted, and that can be sometimes it can be manipulated. Which is how Trump got elected, I would argue. But it's important to understand those things as well.
Yes. And
layers.
I agree. I completely agree. There we go. Sorry, something was bugging me on the screen, so I just had to quickly fix it while listening to you. I think what he also means is that when people are different, I think he means, I don't know if he was meaning more along the lines of physically. Yes, physically we're all different, and you could probably put us into groups on how different people react to different things.
Yeah.
Say for instance, you get a group of three different groups. One group will react badly to a situation. Another group will sit and contemplate on how to react to that, and then go forward and react. And then you get another group that will react in a different way, where it's not bad in a good way. It will be a sudden good way of reacting to that situation. So there's 3 different groups already acting to a situation differently.
Yeah.
The mutual group will sit and think about how to react before they react. So their reaction may be good, may be bad, but they will first think about how to react before they react. So that does still make them different compared to the instant acting bad or instant acting good about a situation. Yeah. So that's how I see how people can be the same, but can be different as well.
Yeah, and goodbye to Commander Darklight that has to go to work.
Thank you so much for popping in, Commander Darklight. And again, thank you so much for the $20. I do appreciate it more than you know. Awesome. I am looking at purchasing a new camera at some point.
Nice.
So I will look better on my Scientology videos as well as my Twitch. Maybe it will change my entire face. No, I'm joking.
I don't go on camera, but I'm thinking of messing around with Face Rig to make my avatar move.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
Well, if I have Face Rig on my Steam account, if I could give it to you, I would, because I don't need it.
Oh no, I got it. I
downloaded it. Yeah. No, I bought it for when I was on Ned's channel to play Ivy.
Yes, and I noticed Ivy is one of those characters.
Yes, and I don't need it anymore, so it was a waste of money for me because I didn't even end up using it.
Did you get the Pro or did you get the normal?
The normal one.
Oh yeah.
I just bought the anime pack as well.
Yeah.
So I can use Ivy.
Yeah, well, we'll see with Face Rig if I can get it rigged up with the current avatar or as close to the current avatar that I. So I'll have to. I'll be working with Steam and Cup of Reason on that and seeing if we can do it. If we can't, you're stuck with a static image, and I don't give a fuck. Sorry, I did say I wouldn't curse.
It's okay. I'll see if I can. No, I'm not gonna bleep it out. It's fine. It was an accident, and I do love your dress on your earlier stream today. It was beautiful.
Yeah, Steam and Cup of Reason is amazing. And he has the Pain of Progress coming up. I think it's this week. It's back.
Yes.
So, I can't wait to see that. Can't wait.
But we will get to all of that later, where you get to express everything that you're doing.
Cool.
And I would just like to thank Atheist Donna for popping in. Thank you so much for popping in. It's all appreciated. Very, very, very much.
Hi.
Okay, so then we have the plot hole saying something outrageous.
As he does.
Yes. It's outrageous. But we're getting so off topic right now.
It happens.
Shall we move on to the next question then?
Sure thing.
Unless there's something else anybody else wants to talk about. No, I haven't caught anything. Okay, so question 3 is, what 2 questions would you ask to get the most information about who a person truly is?
Ooh.
Let me repeat that. What 2 questions would you ask to get the most information about who a person truly is? That is a tough one. Because they would say that listening to knowing someone's music tells you a lot about someone, but it doesn't actually tell you about who they are.
Yeah. There's 2 questions that I always go to. There's 3, but there's 2 questions that I would always go to. Yes, Theo, and it's coming up. Talk to the plot hole. It's his fault that it hasn't happened yet. I blame the plot hole. The whole point of the duck suit thing is a charity live stream that the plot hole is doing with the 4 beardsmen. They still have to get round to organizing it, and if they hit the target, then I'll be appearing in a duck suit because I have a duck onesie. Yeah, there we go.
Showing your face or not showing your face?
Oh, I'll have a mask on.
Okay.
I'll have a mask so people won't see. What's the target? Again, ask the plot hole. He's organizing this stuff. But yeah, back to the question. One of the things would be, or usually what I would ask to get to know someone, is what's their favorite childhood memory. You'll always be able to tell a person from their best childhood memory, because if they focus in, and it's the way in which they would explain it, if they focus in on the activity over the people around them, then they're only focused on the activity. If they talk about the people relating to that activity, then you know they're a people person. They care about the people in their lives. And the other is, have they ever had a pet? Or what pets have they had? Because you always know a person's heart from how they treat animals. For me, anyway, if you don't treat animals well, get the hell out of my life. You're not worth it. I'm, as I said, like, I went to South Africa to work with animals. Like, if you don't like animals, you don't have a place in my life.
Yeah. So it's not specifically the type of animal.
No.
Okay.
But,
so I was going to say, I'm a cat person. So what does that tell you about me?
I like cats. I love cats. First of all, you're an individual. Second of all, you're independent. And third, if someone wants to have you in their lives, they have to earn it. And the second they don't earn it, or the second they screw you over, you're gone. Because that's what cats do. That's what cats do.
Well, my one cat, she is an alpha female. Now, it's very rare in the cat species. It's quite, domestic cat species. That's quite rare to have an alpha female. And
no, it's not.
In the domestic.
No, it's not.
Oh, I always thought it was a rare thing. But anyway, she is an alpha female. And when we brought in a male, I truly thought that she would actually run away. Now, she hasn't, but she does give me this dirty look every time I look at her. She doesn't really let me. She used to be the lovable type. She'd be on my lap. She'd let me hold her. She'd come and say hi. She'd come and lie by me when I'm busy on the computer, whatever. But the moment we brought another cat in, a male, she basically wants nothing to do with me. When I hold her, she hisses at me. She growls at me. So I know she's very upset with me for bringing in another cat onto her territory. And I get that. I don't know how to tell her to fucking get over yourself, bitch. Or it's okay. He's not going to take over your territory.
We can talk about this after the stream, and I think we should. But part of it is that if you have handled the other cat more, in a sense, then she will feel her scent has been removed. Is the male cat fixed?
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Okay. Because otherwise the spay would be on you and you wouldn't even know it. But with cats, everything in terms of comfort has to do with scent. Scent is everything in terms of comfort. And the other thing is positive association. When it comes to cats, they don't hate you because you brought another cat into their lives. That's not the deal. They will feel distant if you don't have their scent on you. So when I had Casper, right? Casper was one of my cats. I had Casper for 14 years. 14 years he was my best friend. And I conquered with laser pointers. I brought Casper down to the farm. Everything was fine. We got Rosa. Casper started backing away from me because I was smelling more of Rosa, because Rosa had to be in my bedroom for 3 weeks.
Yes.
So everything smelt of her. So I had to then reassure Casper and spend more time. The other thing is positive association. So if you're coming into the room and you're giving her a treat or you're playing with her, that's positive association. If you come into the room and you do nothing with her and don't show any interest, well, then she's going to believe, because cats are unbelievably intelligent, she's going to believe that you don't have interest in her.
Oh, but I do try and show her more attention than I do the other one, because he's very lovable and he wants to be around us, because he's run away and now he realizes where his home is. So he's run away, so we try and, make him feel loved so he doesn't run away again. Yeah. So I think she feels, maybe we're going right off topic here. This is not a conversation about cats, but it's fine. I think she feels that she's not getting enough, but we try and she just doesn't want to know anything about it.
Yeah, we definitely need to talk after the stream, because I could probably help you out. Having worked, I worked in catteries from the age of 13. So,
all right.
There you go. There you go. I said 3 again.
3 again.
There you go, Johnny. Whatever.
So I think when it comes to 2 questions, honestly, I have no idea. I think it may. I have no questions. I have no idea what I would ask. I mean, if I just met you, I would not know what to just ask you. But I think asking them about animals, I think, is a good thing, is a good start.
Yeah.
Other than that, look, if you like animals but you don't have them, it's that's fine. That's your choice. Like, I don't like dogs, right? I'm not a dog person at all, but doesn't mean I'm going to treat them like shit either.
I love
Okay,
dogs.
they're animals. To me, they're animals, and for me, animal abuse is not on at all. But I don't know what other question I'd actually ask someone. I've never really thought about that, and I would need to sit and think about that question to truly give you an answer, because I don't know at this point in time. I don't know what kind of answer I would give,
Yeah.
or
Well,
what questions I would ask.
for
You
for
know.
me for me it's all about, well, first of all, it has to be how they treat animals, because for me, I'm an animal lover. I'm an animal lover. I don't care what animal. I respect the animal for the animal that they are. That's the big thing with me.
Even if it's a fish.
Huh?
Even if it's a fish.
Even if it's a fish, you have to respect the fish as a fish. It's never going to be a cat. It's never going to jump out of its bowl and hug you. It's a fish, you know? And like, what I'm learning, like, I have a friend, and I've spoken about this on other streams. I have a friend who does wasp removals. I always hated wasps. I love honeybees. I think, well, bees in general are fascinating creatures. But he has shown, he got me onto a YouTube channel called Hornet King. And Hornet King explains the makeup of a hive and what they do and how they function as a creature. There's a group called Ants Canada who does the same thing with ant colonies, and they teach you about that species, you know. And if you understand and respect the species as the species, you don't have to like the species, but if you understand and respect the species as a species, then that for me is the aim. Whereas you have a lot of people who are dog lovers, and they will come at cats with dog tinted glasses, and they don't understand cats for the creatures that they are. They don't understand the language. They don't appreciate the language. It's the same with goats. If you don't understand goat language, you're not going to, and you don't appreciate goat language, you're never going to understand or like goats. Having been living with goats for 7 years, I understand the way a herd works.
Yes.
For the most part, in pets would have been an evil thing. I thought it was a lot of people. Soon as you understand where a person stands in terms of animals, you understand their heart. Because in order to really appreciate and understand and love animals, you have to be a kind-hearted person, because it's a non-verbal relationship that you have. You cannot have a verbal relationship with an animal because they don't speak your language. And if you understand a non-verbal relationship that you would have with an animal, it's easy then to translate that into humanity, different cultures, disabilities, stuff like that. So you will always understand a human's heart with how they treat animals. And the other thing then for me, being a sociologist, is how they treat other people. You will always know how they treat other people with their favorite memory and how they choose to narrate their favorite memory. If they narrate their favorite memory as an activity and focus in on the activity, then they're motivated by, they come at things on their terms. And any relationship they have is on their terms, which is understandable to a large extent. If they focus in on the people involved in that activity and they embrace the people involved, then they have a more open heart. So the favorite memory is on everybody's terms. Plot hole, get lost. No, I gave you what you wanted. I gave you what you wanted. Go away now.
You know, in my experience, in terms of how people treat other people, sometimes you don't see it because you've got your blinkers on, and you know, you kind of justify why the person's treating that person that way. And for instance, David Miscavige hits someone. The only reason why he's doing it is because that person's not doing their job correctly, and the only way they're going to learn is to be hit. The only way they're going to learn is to be put in the hole. To go through mental torture, to go through that. So that's why. So people justify why people are treating other people badly, and you only start seeing it when it starts happening to you. And you start, and even then, even with Scientology, some people are like, what have I done to call this in? What have I done to make this, to make David Miscavige punch me to oblivion in the face? I must have done something wrong. Until they actually be left alone enough for long enough for them to not be, to start getting out of that, being reformed, and stop being, hammered with mental abuse, that they actually get to sit and think, but hang on, that is not right. I did everything I was supposed to do. They're just an asshole who didn't get it their way, kind of thing. Yeah. And I can think of a few people that will even take a memory and manipulate it for different people.
Yes.
We'll take that one memory, tell one person one thing, tell someone else something else. And each person will have a different story, a different memory from that one person, because either that person is scared of who they really are, or they don't want people to know who they really are. And on the internet, that's fine. But when you really care about someone and you tell this person you love them, or you become closer as good friends or best friends or whatever the case is, why are you still lying to them? Why are you still lying to them? Why are you telling them, the wrong thing? It's not right. So going back to you saying, asking them about a past memory of theirs. How do you know that they're telling you the truth, though?
That's true.
They could be just telling you a memory and twisting it to be good and make them look good.
Well, I mean, there's signals. There are signals. It's harder online, especially when you don't go on camera. But there's signals that you can tell whether or not people are lying. But I won't get into that because that's a whole other conversation. But if I was put in front of someone, and asked, and said, you have to ask this person 2 questions, in order to find out what they're like. Yes. Predominantly, how they work with animals, which is, have you had any childhood pets, or would you like to have pets? What kind of pets would you like? That kind of animal fielded question is important for me in understanding how a person works. Because if they talk about whether they have pets or not, if they talk about animals or an animal in a good light, then we probably would get along. Yes. And then it's how they choose to narrate the childhood question for me, what they choose to emphasize. Without knowing me, what they choose to emphasize, whether it's materialism or whether it's emotional. If they choose to kind of talk about the people in the memory as aside to the activity that they were doing, that's kind of what I would be looking at, roughly. But you're not going to know anyone from 2 questions.
Yes.
And thankfully, we don't live in a world where you only get to ask 2 questions and there you go. You're never going to have another opportunity to explore a little bit more. It's an interesting one. It is an interesting one. But I would always go for how they treated people as children and how they treated animals.
Yes, and I think maybe also as a good one, I think that goes with in terms of treating people is, for me, it's about how people see the others, the folks with disabilities or different in other ways.
Yeah.
I think how you treat disabled people is a good thing. Is another good one. But again, it's you've only got 2 questions, so which one do you go for first, you know?
Yeah, I mean, my mom has disabilities. I was a carer for 7 years for a man who was blind. So, yeah, disabilities is a big thing. But you will always, if you bring up the area of disabilities, they will always try to present them in a better light. Whereas if you talk about childhood and how they treated others in childhood, you'll get a better sense of who they are. For me, anyway.
Yes.
So that's why if I only had 2 questions, I would concentrate on a childhood memory, and I would concentrate on how they treat animals.
Yes. And then some plot hoppings of something that I can relate to. I am allergic to cats. I am too, but I cannot help but squish my face into their stomach.
Not into their stomach. Not into their stomach. Why would you do that?
Because it's cute and fluffy and it's floofy and it's soft.
But it's disrespectful to a cat.
Oh, but this is when they're already showing me their stomach. They're already on their back wanting me to rub their tummy or something. But I don't do it hard. I know it's sensitive, so I don't do it hard. So I just stick my face there. I don't like push into their face. You know, when I say squish it, I mean it's not seriously squish.
Oh, that is the funny. I think that's the funniest line I've heard today. I just stick my face in their tummy.
But yet again, I do go and wash my hands and my face right afterwards or wipe my face down.
That's what antihistamines are for, people.
Yes, I know. But so I don't have to take an antihistamine. I go and wash my hands and my face.
Yeah.
Or go and wipe my face down if I've got makeup on.
You take precautions and you're fine. Build a bridge, get over it. Come on, Johnny. Sorry, I'm just using this now to get back at Johnny for constantly asking me to say that number.
The 3.
Yeah.
The 3.
He's giving me a complex about it. Him and Jess. Jess is the worst. Jess is the worst when it comes to that number. She makes me cry.
Pearlfish says nobody should be attacked for something about themselves. They have no control over ability to change.
Yeah.
I don't know if I
people
kind of
have
disagree with that.
People have the ability to change. Of course they do.
They do have the ability to change. They have control over telling the truth or not. But
what if you read it and nobody should be attacked for something about themselves that they have no control over or ability to change. Yes, understandable.
Yes.
Personalities can always change.
Yes.
Physical disabilities you can't change. Disabilities in general, social disorders you can't change. I can't wake up one day and not have bipolar. Like I wish I could. And some days are easier than others, but I can't wake up one day and say I don't have bipolar. Because that's not how my brain works.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. If you can't change something about yourself, you shouldn't be attacked over it. Except for Johnny O making a bigger deal out of his allergies to cats. That should absolutely be condemned. Johnny O, get a better antihistamine.
Yes.
Just saying. Just saying.
They don't make strong enough antihistamines, he says. Then take 2.
He's one of these people who believes in the man flu.
This guy that says, now I can't unsee the image of Roxy seeing cats and just wanting to put her face in any cat's belly.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the truth about that. When it comes to cats, it is most likely making cooing sounds. Yes.
Yes.
With cats, they show you their stomachs as a sign of respect and comfort.
Yes.
My face. Yes. But you could shave your beard. That's all I'm saying. Or, groom it every so often.
That's what welcome to Christian for popping into the chat, and they say the same thing.
Yes. See? But no, what was I saying? Yeah, for cats, they show you their stomach as a sign of respect and that they're comfortable around you and that they care about you. For me, I would never touch, because it's so sensitive and because all of their vital organs are right there in their stomach. I I would never be able. I'd never be able to bring myself to touch a cat's stomach, just out of respect for the animal.
Yes. Well, when I know
This is why. My cat shows me their stomach as a sign I want to rip your arms apart. If you disrespect their trust and you touch their stomach, they will see it as a sign of aggression. You don't ever, for me, unless you know the cat, obviously, you don't, out of a sign of respect for the animal, as the animal, you don't touch the cat's stomach. I would give them a pat on their head or under their chin, or give them the cat I love you, just as a thank you for trusting me. I would never, I can't, having been around cats for so long, I could never bring myself to touch a cat's stomach.
Well, for me, when I do it, none of my cats have ever tried to scratch my face off when I put my face there. So, I mean, like I say, I do it softly. I don't really like shove my face into their stomach. I really don't.
You know, because that's the way it sounded.
I know, but it's not what I do. It's just I put my face there, but at the same time I'm stroking their ear, or like scratching their ear or scratching their chin or something. So I'm just telling them it's going to be okay. I'm not here to hurt you. And none of my cats have ever attacked my face.
Cat, Skydiver Tanner, also their paws touch the beans, you get the means. Yes. And Taddy Bogle asks what the cat I love you is. The cat I love you is it's the slow blink. So if you ever see a cat and they slow blink at you, mentally what you're supposed to do is slow blink back, because a cat closing their eyes, a predator closing their eyes, is making themselves extremely vulnerable. So if you give the slow blink, you think eyes open, eye, close your eyes slowly, love, and as you're opening them, you. So it's called the cat I love you. It's cat psychology, basically. But you have to understand cat language. Just to explain, because you asked.
Yes, no, it's I learned that as well, and I think it's amazing.
The cat I love you. I do it all the time, and it's a great way to build up a bond and relationship with your cat.
And what I did notice is that you can't do it first, because they'll just in their head.
I mean, you can show them that you're willing to be, especially with strays, you can show them that you're willing to be completely vulnerable. And it's a good way to kick off a conversation with a cat that you don't like. The other thing I do if I don't know the cat is, because I wear glasses, my scent is on the arms of my glasses. So what you do is you take your glasses off, you present the ear of the glass, the arms of the glasses to the cat, so they can sniff your scent and decide whether or not they want to talk to you. And that way, you're not actually putting your hand in the vicinity of attack.
Yes.
They get your scent. They get to decide whether or not they want to come to you. It's understanding. It's just basically understanding cat behavior. Again, if you know the patterns, you can plan for the patterns of behavior.
Yes. Well, I mean, you could also, with a dog, you got to put your hand out for them to smell your hand. And the best way to do it is to let them smell the back of your hand. Otherwise, if you just put your hand out, they might just chomp your hand. But for a cat, you put out your finger and you let them, boop your finger first. And that's when they smell your finger. And then if they,
smell my finger. Smell my finger.
And sometimes they'll scratch you. They'll try and scratch their ear with your finger, and that's when you can touch them. But if they turn away, then don't touch them, because they're gonna freaking attack you.
Yeah. Facty says I'm the cat whisperer. No, it's just years of learning of working with these animals. You learn the best ways to approach them. That's all it is.
Yes. Yes.
I take it for granted sometimes that you don't realize, yourself, when you've been in an industry so much or so long, you don't know what you know. And so when you're talking about it very casually, you forget that other people don't know this stuff.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So we've been going on for 2 hours, almost 2 hours on 2 questions. I think we should party on.
Yep.
But I just want to quickly, Gregory just says, I can't find in the side chats. He said, Skydiver Tanner, Roxy, ask Roxy what the word for cat is in Afrikaans that is equivalent to pussy.
They got
Now, you know the word too. So, oh no, you don't. I'm not going to say the word.
Say the word.
No, I can't because it's considered a swear word as well.
Okay. If it's vulgar, don't.
But in Afrikaans, it's just cut.
Okay.
If you want to really just be plain, it's cut. It's nothing really. But I know what Gregory is asking. I'm sorry, Gregory. I'm not going to ask that question.
They are. I swear they're troublesome. They're troublesome in that chat. I swear. You should have seen my chat earlier. Like they were, yeah.
If this was in maybe if this was in Krafty's channel, then yes, I would say it. But this is
okay. You
channel.
have to come on. You have to come on to my channel then soon, and that question has to be asked. Someone take note of that question, please. Bacon Earth, take note of that question. I'll be asking that question on my channel, and you have to answer.
Someone is going. Who's leaving? I just see Bacon saying laters. Who's going? I can't see who's going.
Pearlfish.
Pearlfish. Oh, nice. Thank you so much, Pearlfish. Thank you so much for coming in, and I appreciate. And I hope to see you soon in my next one. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. So next question, because we are
last one. Yeah.
The last one. Yes. I've just disappeared. There you go. I've just disappeared.
You just abandoned your own stream.
I'm sorry. I'm back. I did a quick apparition. I apparated in and out of the strip quickly. Okay, so the next question is, what would you genetically change about humans to make them a better species?
What would I change genetically?
Mm-hmm.
There's a question. I'd probably move the windpipe away from the food pipe, just because that, in terms of like, if there was planning in that was the worst planning ever, because it's so easy to choke when you eat. But no, I don't know. I don't presume to be better than nature, because we've evolved in such a way to be functional. Yes. And we are functional. I'd probably give myself like I don't know, what would I like to see to make us better as humans?
I think you hit the nail on the head of that one.
Get rid of the appendix altogether, because it's just a ticking time bomb. There's no reason for us to have it anymore.
I agree with that, because I had to take mine out. I had a cyst growing on my room, and when they opened me up, they saw that my appendix was about to go.
Yeah, there's no reason to have it. It's a ticking time bomb.
They cut me on the opposite side of my appendix, and because of a laparoscope, they saw that my appendix was about to go. So they took that out with the cyst. My appendix and my cyst was floating in blood, because my cyst burst. So it was all just floating in blood. So they just took it all out at once, and along with 10% chance of having children. So it's just.
Spaghetti on Pizza Production says web shooters.
Yes, I saw.
We don't need web shooters.
No, we don't. I don't like spiders. I don't like webs as it is. I don't want a web shooter. Thank you.
I love spiders. They're amazing.
No, the only spider that's allowed in my house and is allowed to stay alive in my house is Lucas, a jumping spider. Of all spiders, a jumping spider is allowed to stay in my. Oh, hang on quickly, before they go. They say, last comment on the way out of the door, move the brain closer to the mouth so both can be used at the same time.
What? No, that's dangerous.
Move the brain closer to the mouth so both can be used at the same time.
That's dangerous, because the anus is miles away from the mouth, and yet that's still used all the time in place of the mouth.
When they talk shit.
Sorry, not to lower the tone or anything, but proximity to the mouth doesn't dictate whether or not it's going to be used more. I'm saying, no, enough of that. I'm not even. Let's change the subject from that one, because Taddy Bogle is in the chat, and I know what he's like. Yeah. We need to change the subject on that one. So what else? What other the anus is the most important part of the body. I could debate you all day for that. Good luck. Good luck. Yeah.
Yeah, no, look, I'm no, please, no web shooters, please.
Yeah, no, in realistic terms, genetic code, what would make us better? The only things that I can actually think of practically is get rid of the appendix, because we no longer need it. Whatever we needed it for, we no longer needed it. We no longer need it now. So just get rid of it. Just get rid of it.
Tonsils.
Tonsils are okay. I don't mind tonsils.
Mine poisoned my system. I had to take them out because they were poisoning my system.
Yeah, but not all tonsils poison your system. That's just you.
No, but that's just me. You make me sound like my body trying to attack me.
My own body parts are trying to kill me all the time. No, what else?
I think that one is the best one. The windpipe and the esophagus. Too close together.
Whatever strain that gives dementia, the genetic code of dementia, get rid of that completely. I don't want dementia. If I'll say it live on air. If I ever end up with dementia, I don't care losing my body parts. I don't care losing my physicality. If my mind ever goes, shoot me now. Just shoot me. Just kill me there and then, because if I lose who I am, I don't want to live. For me, being a farmer, it's never been about how long you're on the earth for. It is about the quality of your life. And as soon as I don't have my right mind, I don't want to live.
Yes. I think I'm the same.
So whatever is in our genetic code that creates Alzheimer's or dementia, get rid of it. Get rid of it. Take it out. Bye-bye.
I'm the same. Look, I know that I don't have the same mind as a lot of people in this community in terms of how clever they are. And I know that I have my strengths. My strengths differ to a lot of people in this community in terms of whether it's math and science. I don't have the mind for that, and that's fine.
Oh, just mine. I'm crap at math.
But my mind is. I feel like I have a intelligence in a lot of other things and I don't want that to go. And even from the beginning, from the time that's I left high school, I started getting told I was pretty, and the moment I started getting that, I'm like, I don't want to be just told I'm blonde and pretty and that's that. I don't want to rely on my looks. So I actually made it an effort to start learning stuff, because the mind is more important than looks to me. Okay. If you are intelligent, that's freaking sexy to me. I don't care what the fuck you look like. Right? Intelligence to me is important, and I've always made it a plan to learn how to do things or learn about things. And even when I was in school, even before I was told about my looks, when I was in English class, we were told to take out a book from the teacher's library every 2 weeks or something. And every time, I never took out a novel at all, or a storybook or whatever. I would always take out a book about science or the solar system, to be exact, always. And that, because that's what I enjoyed, that's where I felt that I wanted to learn stuff. Because when I was that young, I also wanted to be an astronaut as well. So not knowing that I needed maths and science to be an astronaut anyway. But I always wanted to learn, and that has always stuck with me.
Yeah.
And my expertise has always stuck with the solar system and the cosmos and the universe and so on. I've always had a love for the universe. So I've always done all I can to always learn a little bit more about the universe. And because there is just so much, you can never learn everything. And as you grow older and you forget how the size of Saturn, and you forget what the composition of Saturn is, because Saturn is my favorite planet. So you learn about more. Once you learn that there's more to the universe than just your solar system, you kind of forget about what your solar system has, and you learn more about what's more out there than anything.
Yeah.
Like my biggest question is, the colors that you see in photographs of the cosmos, are they real or not? And that's the question I've always had, and I found an answer. They're real, but they're not real. So what is it? But anyway, that's going on a different topic. So I think the one thing that I would maybe, just because of my mind being ADD, as well as a forgetful person, if I could change a genetic feature to have a photographic memory,
yeah,
I would want. All the things that you mentioned is great, and I completely agree with dementia and so on. I completely agree, and but I would for me personally, I know human as a species we can get there, but me personally, I would love a photographic memory, so I can remember everything I've read. I can remember everything that I've been through.
See, I wouldn't like a photographic memory because of what I've been through. There's some things that you would just love to forget the details of.
Yes.
And for me, I have 2/3 of the short-term memory that I should have because of head trauma. And yeah, no, and there's certain aspects. So I was suicidal at the age of 8 years old. There are reasons behind that I can't fully remember. And to be honest with you, I don't want to. Because I know they were traumatic, and I don't want to remember the details. If I had a photographic memory, it would drive me fucking insane.
Yeah. Okay, maybe let me clarify in terms of maybe.
So that you have to take the good with the bad. That's the problem.
Yes. Yeah, the photographic memory in terms of everything that I've learned, in terms of reading things.
So that's why I said I would choose not to have dementia. My nan had dementia. I have loved ones who have had dementia besides her. The last time I saw my nan, she was telling me a story about her and her brother bunking off school. And so she told that story. And in the corner, sitting right next to her, was my mother. My mother's name, I'm going to say, is Lisa. It's not, but let's say it's Lisa. So she says to me, well, how's your mammy doing? And then she turns to my mammy and says, Lisa, make her a cup of tea. And then it says it again, how's your mammy doing? How's your mammy doing? And it was the time that I really realized that her dementia was getting so bad, that she knew who Lisa was. She knew my mother's name was Lisa, let's say. But in the same room, she couldn't connect the two.
Oh, okay, I see.
And then later that day, she freaked out because she didn't know who Lisa was.
Yeah.
She didn't know who my mom was. She didn't know that my mom was her carer. She didn't know that was her daughter. And it changed so quickly. That she was going from knowing who my mom was, who she saw every day, 4 or 5 times a day, to not being able to remember who she was. And she was a stranger who broke into her home and trying to steal her money. Like that broke my heart. Seeing my nan, who was so bright and so incredible in her life, and who has taught me so much about what it is to be a person, to be a good person, to see her forget who she is and who we are, and that was the hardest thing I think I've ever had to go through. And for me, the idea of going through something similar, to lose my mind, to be in a place that's familiar and not know the people around me, I don't think I'd be able to cope with it. So if I was to ever get dementia, even onset early dementia, if there's no cure, put me out of my misery now.
Yes. So it's safe to say the one genetic thing that you would change is dementia.
Yeah.
I would agree. I would definitely agree. And I see that you did comment to this in the chat, but sad thing is when we lose, it might not we might not know it. I have a head trauma and realize sometimes how it has affected me, but cannot tell you.
Yeah. I mean, Gregory is absolutely right.
Thank you for sharing, Gregory. I appreciate it.
It's not easy when you know there's chunks missing out your memory. It's a very, very difficult thing to accept. It's a difficult thing to accept that you don't have the memory capacity that you should have. Because the mind is such a delicate thing, and we don't know as much about it as we should or we would like to. So if there was one thing that I could change, or if there was one thing I could safeguard, it would be my memory. It would be how I think. And I like the fact that how I think personally is changeable. I'm able to change my mind. I'm able to have a conversation and see a different way. And if I ever lost that ability, out of fear, then yeah, I would. That would be my worst. That would be the worst case scenario for me.
Yeah. I agree with that. I do agree with the fact of, I mean, I already have a terrible memory as it is. And I've also learned how to, if I could say, kick things out of my mind that I don't want to remember. And I don't know, there are so many things that I would love to remember, and forget about everything that I've learned in terms of education, as per se. In terms of life, there is so much that I would love to remember. I would love to remember my first kiss with my fiance, how it felt. I don't remember that. I don't remember the very first conversation we had. I don't remember, so these things are important to me because they're part of my life.
Yeah.
And I don't remember them because of my memory. My memory used to be amazing. I used to be my ex-fiance, and I used to be his diary. Like, I would remember where we're going, who we're seeing, at what time, where we need to be, what's the address. I used to be brilliant at remembering this shit. Excuse me, sorry. I used to be really good at remembering this stuff. And it felt like just one day it turned off. I don't know if it was something that was gradual, but it felt like just one day it all turned off. And now I can't even remember what I did last weekend. I can't.
Yeah, I get that way.
The other day, and for me, I feel like I want to cry because that is just, skydive attendant, that happened when I was in my early 20s, like early 20s. I think I was 20, 21 when that hit me. It was just, yes, I did engage very early in my life, and I'm glad I didn't go through with it. But, it was just, I think about it and I want to cry because I want to remember that first kiss. I remember doing it and I remember what happened. And the saddest part is, and I'm going to get really, really deep here, so I do apologize.
Please do.
I more remember what happened to me when I was raped than my first kiss with my fiance.
Oh, yeah.
And that to me is the saddest thing ever.
Yep.
I remember what I was wearing. I don't remember the exact day. I remember the exact day. It was a Saturday, May 26th, I think it was. It was a braai. he had a bunch of his friends over. It was winter because I was wearing boots, polo neck, and jeans. So I wasn't even wearing anything provocative either.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a boyfriend. So I remember all of that, but I can barely remember the feel of my boyfriend, my now fiance's kiss on the first time I kissed him. I remember it was good, obviously, because I'm now, getting engaged to the guy.
Yeah, but we always we're as human beings, we always remember what the traumatic events, because the brain goes into such a fury of trying to protect itself that it has to be hyper aware. We're hyper aware when we're in traumatic events, so that's why we can remember them better and clearer.
Yes.
I can tell you that from me, like, I remember my assault clearer than anything I have ever experienced before in my life.
Yeah.
And anything else I've ever experienced in my life, I remember my assault clearer than anything.
Mm-hmm. I do remember the day that I met my fiance, my phone was stolen. That I also remember. At first I blamed him because, he was next to me and I was being bumped and all of that, and my phone was stolen right out of my handbag. But then that was a stupid thing to realize, to blame him, because he wanted my number. Why would he ask for my number if he had stolen my phone?
Yep.
So we had to go old school and write it on our arms. Luckily, we had a pen.
See, Tanner gets it. Tanner gets it. Tanner
Yes.
is saying the exact same thing as I. We become hyper aware, and danger and survival instincts kick in, so we remember everything, so we don't fall into the same thing again.
Yes.
But with memory, it's not about remembering what you're trying to remember. It's trying to remember the context around it, and that's what helps you remember. When you're trying so hard to remember the event instead of the context of the event, or like little things can trigger your memory. But for me, if I ever lost my memory, that would be it for me. I'd want to go. That's it. Put me out my misery.
Yeah.
My memory and how I think is the only thing that I ever had. I've never been rich. I've never been wealthy. I've never had anything like that.
Yes.
My memory, my process of thinking, it's the only thing that I've ever owned. And if that was taken away from me, then my quality of life wouldn't exist. So that for me, like, yeah.
Scott, excuse me. Spaghetti on Pizza Production says, I have a little to no memory from about 15 years back. I just can't seem to hold on to the memories. It's why I take photos and collect souvenirs. So I always have something to hold on to. And that is my problem. I even forget to take photos. I even forget to take photos. That's how bad my memory is.
I don't like taking photos of particular events, because when you're so and I get the draw for, especially to explain it to further down the line, or to remember it further down the line, which has happened, by the way. I still I live in the moment, or I try to. I try not to look back too often, because by looking back, sometimes we get so hung up on what we had that we don't appreciate what we have. We get so wrapped up on who we were then that we forget to appreciate who we are now. And so I don't often look back, or I try not to look back, except if something that I've been through can assist in what I'm going through, or what someone else is going through. So when I talk about my experience, so for the last few years, I have done nothing but talk about my my sexual assault, because it was in a context of trying to change the law to overturn a constitutional ban on abortion. And because I became pregnant for the rape, trying to explain the impact that had, was important in trying to get the law overturned, because only through experiences could people stop seeing it as a black and white issue and understanding the complexities behind it. So the only reason I tend to look back or talk about memories is if the context is helping something that I'm going through currently, or something someone else is going through, and I can help them through it. Otherwise, I tend to look, I'm very rooted in the moment. I'm very rooted in planning for the future. But I can't, because of my bipolar, I can't plan too far ahead, because I don't believe that there will be a too far ahead. So that's restricting for me. I can't plan too far ahead because I don't know how long I have left. And I can't really, like, I'm going to talk about deep. My funeral was paid for before I reached the age of 18. That is how bad my bipolar was, my depression was.
She was.
So the fact that I'm over 30 and I'm still here and I'm still functioning is a huge deal for me. So I tend not to look back unless what I'm dealing with, or what someone else is dealing with, can be helped by looking back.
Thank you so much for sharing. I do appreciate it very, very much. And the reason I've become a very nostalgic kind of person. Or I try not to be, but I know that I am. I sometimes find myself trying to become friends again with old school friends that I used to be best friends with, basically joined at the hips kind of friendships, And because I don't have those friendships at the moment, I have my best friend, don't get me wrong, I do have my best friend, and because she lives in another town or even another province, she lives on the coast, so she's 8 hours away from me.
Yikes.
But even then, I try and remember those friendships that I had, and I try and reconnect with those people, and it just never works, because they were in your lives and they're no longer in your lives for a reason. But I try and look for those kind of friendships, because those are the kind of friendships that mean so much to me, that meant so much to me back then, even because of what we went through together. And I listen to the music that we listened to back then, and it reminds me of them. And I, if I do bump into them at some point, I say, let's go for coffee sometimes, and it never happens because of for whatever reason. And I sit there, I'm like, did I do something wrong? Why are we no longer friends? And then I sat and realized, but hang on, they are in a different time in their life. They are married and have children. So where they are now, they know they're not looking back and wanting what you're wanting. So they've already moved on. They have their new friends, and they have their new life, and so on and so forth. So what we had was probably special to them, but it will never happen again, kind of thing, because we've all moved on. They're in a different part of the time of their life than me. And that's what I've grown to understand now. Is that
part of it is romanticizing in a way, and we all do it, romanticizing what we had.
Yes.
And then the reality can never live up to the memory of what it was.
Yes.
That's part of the problem.
And I know now that even if we did become friends again, it will never be the same.
No. Because you're different people.
Yes. And I think I'm still learning that it's okay. That it is okay. You don't have to try and recall things. You don't have to become friends with that person again. you could pop him a message and say, I was thinking about you today. I heard this song and I heard this song and I was thinking about you today. I hope you're doing all right or whatever. And that's what it needs to be. You don't have to say, I wish we were still friends or whatever else.
Yeah.
Like when her dad died, I was distraught. I didn't know what to do in terms of for her, because it was her father. But when I found out he passed away, he was like a father to me as well. Because I used to be at her house every weekend. Every weekend I was there. So he became like a father figure to me. And I cared about him very, very much. And when he passed, I didn't know what to say to her in terms of saying how sorry I am that this has happened. Because nothing I said would be good enough.
Yeah, words don't really mean much in terms of those situations.
Especially if you find out on Facebook,
Oh, gee.
So how do you say anything to something like that?
Yeah.
I don't even think I have her number anymore to even send her a WhatsApp or a voice note. This was a couple of years ago already, so so I wouldn't have been able to send her anything to say I am sorry. But and I'm sorry for her loss, and I hope but it's anyway. We're going right off topic, and it's getting way too deep for my liking right now.
Okay.
But yes, I agree with you in terms of dementia. I think that's where maybe even actually no. I was going to say maybe even the genetics of being of contracting viruses, maybe because we're sitting in a pandemic right now. Contracting viruses, I think, is part of evolution. As much as we hate to think that losing loved ones to a virus is not a nice thing, I think for a species entirely, it's survival of the fittest.
Can we get rid of the stupid gene? Can we get rid of the stupid gene?
That would be amazing. That would be absolutely amazing. But again, that's also part of Darwinism.
Yeah, could you imagine? Could you imagine if Nathan Thompson had never picked up a Bible? Whew! What could he have been? What could he have been if he was actually intelligent?
That's going to break my head. Please, Mama, please don't do that. Please don't do that. That's going to break my mind. Skydiver Tennis says, I want to type so much, but it would be a novel. Loving this conversation.
Tanner, we definitely need to hook up on a live stream sometime soon and just have a chat. I don't mind going into so like my last kind of political live streams, one was about politics in the US and one was about something horrible that happened in Ireland with the mother and baby homes report coming out. And like that, Tusk, if you're still in the chat, man, you're incredible for coming on and being so open and being so honest in that discussion. So yeah, I'm definitely looking to have more very, very open, deep conversations as well. But I love this show because it's one of the only shows on YouTube that you can actually you can get into the nitty-gritty, and philosophical questions actually do become more than just philosophical questions. So thank you for having the show.
You're welcome. And this is why I like doing this show, because it's a place where we can actually get into deep conversations and actually still enjoy it.
Yeah, we need it.
Yes. But with that, I think we should bring this to a close now, because we've gone on a little bit too long.
Never.
We could, I mean, you and I
we could go for another 2 hours. I don't think anyone minds, but
oh my goodness. I mean, you and I can talk. I think the first
4
time
hours,
we
5 hours
had a conversation, we spoke for about 4 to 5 hours, and it was crazy. And it wasn't just, and we came onto a call to speak about one specific thing.
Yeah, and we ended up speaking for 5 hours. That happened. Yes. That happened, people.
Yes, and we didn't even speak about that one specific thing the whole time. It was great. And that's what I think conversation should be about. Is Spaghetti says he could listen to us all day.
Aw, thank you.
But I think that's actually really, really sweet. And
This is what happens with all of my conversations. Like I had so I had the show with Stephen Cup of Reason there this morning, and then we brought Taddy on afterwards to have a chat, and me and Taddy ended up watching the rugby.
Yes.
After Bacon Earth deleted the chat we were on. Yes, Bacon Earth, I'm calling you out, biatch. I love you, Bacon. Yeah, so we just continued to watch the rugby because that's what happens. Like, you never know what's gonna happen. And the great thing about life on the flip side is anything could happen. Big Blue Marble Science came in and we just randomly chatted about stuff because it's just a random stream. That's what we need. We need more random. But what this does is it gives a little bit of a direction to the randomness, which I like. I really like.
Now, I would love for you to say this.
What the? No. I can't even. No. I'm not even going to try, because if I do, people will hate me forever.
Right. So he says, thank you, ladies. Awesome Kair means, Kair. Gregory, how do I explain Kair? Kair is like chilling out.
Yeah.
A chill out time is what I would think. Volgende means next. Kier, I'm not too sure, but Cook Sisters is I don't know what your Kair is visit, but deeper. Okay. I thought Kair was just chilling out.
Hang on. Cook Sisters?
Cook Sister is Cook Sister. I don't know what his intention. There's
reading
there's two
that
intentions for me with that, because I know what it is. Cook Sister is like a very, very, very sweet deep fried dough. It's basically drowning in like a syrup, right? It's really, really delicious, to be honest, if you really like sweet stuff. But I don't know what your intention was for Cook Sister.
tea.
Gregory.
Tea. Although it reminds me of the first time I ever saw the word a word written down called cockfosters. Seeing that on the screen just reminds me of that. Sorry. Wow.
Okay, so basically it's thank you, ladies, awesome time. It was a great time and
Gregory, the cake is a lie. Just remember that.
Not the X-rated version at all. Okay, that's good to know.
Wasn't it though?
Krafty, I'll explain to you off
okay.
What he meant by cooks. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, so guys, thank you everyone. Thank you so much for coming in. But before we do go, Krafty, what's next on your channel?
I am still aiming to get out. I've been promising for the last 2 weeks to get out a Challenging Conspiracies. This week, or this time, it's on chemtrails, because that's what my patrons voted. You weirdos, I love you. And then I have Life on the Flip Side every week with Steam Cup of Reason. It alternates between the channels. Today was on my channel. Next Sunday is going to be on his channel. This month, I'm hoping to have the first Eye on Society, which is looking at why issues are issues. So it's kind of the historical look at the development of issues. And then the other thing I'm still working on is my series on the social contract and why the idea of the social contract is important.
Yes.
So that's it. That's what I do. And sometimes then I do be on other people's channels like this. I do be on Math Pig. I do be on Cider and Port, and just talking politics on Cider and Port, where there's 3 people in the chat, and it's great because there's just a random discussion, and if you want to watch, you can watch. It's great. So yeah, there is another thing where I've been asked to go on one of the Canadian atheists, because apparently there's more than one, and talk about my deconversion story.
Okay.
So yeah, that'll be interesting.
All right. I want to thank everyone in the chat for being here, for what's the word? Now I've lost my English words. For participating in the conversation, for having fun in the chat, for doing as best as you can to make it fun, but still sticking to the conversation, even though our conversation did go off track quite a bit. So I do appreciate all of you. Sure. There's too many of you guys in the chat at the moment to call all of you, but every single one of you, please know, all of you from around the world watching me now, thank you so much. And if you haven't seen, I did put out a video about a month or 3 months ago about how grateful I am. If you haven't seen it, go have a watch it, and it will explain how grateful I am for everyone in my life at the moment in terms of my YouTube channel. It will explain everything, because I cannot explain now, but it explains everything of how grateful I am. And to my guests that have come on and that will come on, again, thank you for saying yes. Thank you for believing in my show, for actually coming on, and I do appreciate it very, very much. Any links that you need, I did see that I didn't put Krafty's Patreon in the description, but I will update it and I'll put that in. But it is in the chat as well. I did see it go into the chat. Please support her on her Patreon. Please subscribe to her if you haven't. My Patreon and my tips are also in the description. And as for my next show, we have The Plot Hole. Mr. Johnny O will be on my show next week. Not next week, on the 21st of February. Next week is family time. I need it. I definitely need it. But there we go. There's her Patreon. Thank you, Stream Elements, for popping in at the right time. But yes, thank you everyone for coming in. And please don't forget to subscribe. Donate to the cause if you feel you want to, as well as become a patron if you feel you can. There is no pushing it. There is not pushing it. There is no, what's the word? You do not have to do it. If you can, it would be greatly appreciated. If you can't, you just being in the side chat makes it awesome anyway. It's just as good for me. But anyway, thank you everyone for coming in, and we'll see you all soon. Have a good one. Bye.